This is one of the most asked front-end interview question in both big and small companies. So the interviewer will ask you to design scalable nested comments, and this is how it should look like. So as you can see, we have all of these comments over here, and we have the field to add a new comment. So let me just say new comment and press enter. And you can see our new comment has been added right over here. We have the ability to upvote, downvote. We can edit this comment, new comment 1, let's say. There we go. We can delete this comment as well, and you can see we have the option to reply to a comment, and this is exactly what the major use case of this problem is, to render these comments in a nested fashion and to add new replies as well. Like if I say hello and submit reply, you can see this reply has been added, and this uses a tree traversal algorithm behind the scene. Yes, we're going to be using data structures in front end to do something like this. And not only this, we can see we have a sort option here as well. We can sort our comments with respect to newest, oldest, and most voted. So if I click on most voted, you can see the most votes were on the second comment, so this is on the top now. If we add more comments to the 7th comment, you can see this is now on the top, right? So this is all real time. So you can see over here we've designed this component, and you can see when we press Control Space, we have all of these suggestions, and this is possible because we have used Typescript to build this component right here. You can see we have added the necessary types over here for the comments, for the props, to the nested comment component as well, and for all of the states and functions that we'll be using inside of it, so that our code is robust. And this might look simple, but it consists of a lot of things like adding tree traversal algorithm to create, edit, delete, sorting the comments, adding keyboard navigation. We're going to be adding security feature to prevent cross-site scripting, and much more. So first, we're going to be discussing the requirements, then the high-level design, the low-level design, and then the optimizations. So first comes the functional and non-functional requirements. So the functional requirements are those which are absolutely required for the functioning and are the most prioritized requirements, and non-functional requirements are basically good to have requirements which makes our app or that component better. These are the functional requirements. So one of them is obviously nesting. We're going to prepare such a JSON so that we can nest one comment inside of the other whenever required. Comment creation, we can create a new comment, we can reply to the existing comments, we can edit and delete those comments as well. You already saw we can upvote and downvote the comments, and also we should have a feature for sorting the comments in newest, oldest, and most voted. Then comes non-functional requirements, and obviously we have to make sure that our app has a really good performance, and to improve that we can implement something like virtualization. So what is virtualization? Basically, we can render only those comments which are currently in our DOM, right? So virtualization, we have to make sure of the scalability. We have to design our component or our data in such a way that our component is highly scalable. We have to implement security, as I mentioned. We have to prevent cross-site scripting attacks. Maintainability, obviously we have to write a really good maintainable code. Like for example, I showed you we're going to be using Typescript as well. And accessibility, we're going to be adding accessibility techniques like ARIA tags and keyboard navigation, so that we can just use our keyboard to navigate throughout the website, and much more, right? So let's talk about high level design now. So high level design, or HLD, is basically concerned with the overview of the whole app, how the app is going to work without going much into the depth of the functionality. So you can either display HLD in some apps, by using some flowchart, but in this case I thought flowchart might not be necessary, right? So I just created an overview of this app to show the interviewer how our app is going to look like, or how that component is going to look like. So see, I've just created a basic wireframe of how the sort component will look like. We're gonna have a component for our comments with all of these features, and I've indicated them by using these arrows, right? We can have nested comments. We can further nest comments inside of this as well. Like for example, if I show you, we have these nested comments, right? So if I say hi and press enter, you can see we have even more nested comments. So yeah, we will take care of all of these things. Let's talk about low-level design now. Now, what is low-level design? This is more concerned with the functionality and how we will build our app, or you can say the logical or the code side of things, right? So in the previous two videos that I've discussed system design questions, I've showed you the code directly, and in this video we'll do that as well. But some of you asked me to display this interface for these components as well. So you can see for each of our comment, this is how the data will look like. We're gonna have an ID, content, number of votes, the timestamp when that comment was added, and the array of replies, right? And this is going to be our actual component, which will take the array of comments and all of this on submit, on edit, on delete, like I showed you, right, to make our component highly scalable. So cool, that's great. Let's jump to VS Code now and start building our app. So inside of the terminal, I'm gonna switch to this nested comments folder. So nested comments, and I'll initialize a new React app over here. So I'll say npm create wheat at latest, and this will initialize a new React app inside of this folder. So proceed, yes. Project name, I'm gonna say dot, so that it creates the new folder, new project over there. I'll select React over here and I'll select JavaScript. Great. Let's just get rid of this assets folder, and also let's just run npm install so that it installs all of the dependencies inside this package.json folder. I'm gonna get rid of all of the styles inside of it. Just add font family sans serif. I'll get rid of all of the styles inside of index.css, inside of app.jsx. I'll remove this state, all of these imports, and everything inside the return. I'll just have a div which will say subscribe to Roadside Coder, which you should if you haven't yet. Alright, great. Our dependencies have installed. Let's run npm run dev to start our app. There we go. Let's open this up. And by the way, all of the code you can find in the link in the description down below. There we go. Subscribe to Roadside Coder. Awesome. So let's see. What are all the things that we are going to be needing? I'm going to create our folder structure. First of all, I'm going to say components for our components, and I'll create a folder for hooks for creating the custom hooks inside of it whenever we need it, right? We will also have a folder called data. Inside of it, we will keep some dummy JSON data, right? So inside of the components, I'm going to first have a nested comments.jsx, RAFCE, nested comments. So this is actually going to be our main component, which is going to be rendering all of the comments, right? Apart from that, we're gonna have a comments or comment.jsx, which will contain a single comment which will be rendered. So comment. We will also have a file for styles.css. I'll just import it inside of our nested comments. So import styles.css. Inside of our hooks, I'm gonna create a new file called use comment tree. And we're going to be writing all of our algorithms inside of this particular file over here. So I'll call it use comment tree. And I'll talk about these custom hooks even more as we move forward in this video if you have not much idea what these are. So okay, let's first of all go and prepare our data. So inside of the data folder, I'll create a new file called comment.json. So let's see. What type of data are we going to use? I've already shown you in the low level design what we will be planning. So we will have the ID, the content of that particular comment, number of votes, timestamp, and the replies, right? So let's prepare a data which can look something like this. And in your interviews as well, the interviewer will ask you to prepare a data, and you have to make sure that you prepare a scalable data such as this. You can see inside the replies as well, we are following the same convention. And since there are no replies in this one, we're gonna be leaving this as empty. But if there were, we're gonna traverse even further. Okay, great. Let's go to app.jsx, and over here inside this div, I'll have a h1 tag which will say nested comment system. And then we will import our nested comments component. Let's see. There we go. Awesome. Now, first of all, we need to import our data, right? Our JSON data. Now, you can use something like an API call. You can fetch this data, you can keep it in public, and you can fetch this data through an API. But I'll just keep it simple. I'll just import the JSON over here. Right, and we'll just take this JSON and provide this to this nested comments and provide it to this nested comments component. So comments equals comments data. Great. Let's go on over here and receive it. Comments. Now, as I mentioned, they are going to be much more than this, right? We have to make sure that this component is scalable. So we're gonna supply these functions as well. Like what happens when a component is submitted, what happens on edit of that component, on delete, on upvote, on downvote. So we're going to discuss all of these things as well. Let's start with these three. I'll comment this one out over here. So inside of the nested comments, I'll say on submit, on edit, and on delete, right? So first of all, for on submit, for creating a comment and replying to a comment, what's going to happen? So inside of this use comment tree hook, I'm going to be managing the complete our complete state and writing the logic like insert, edit, delete, sort, whatever. So let's just first create a use state over here called comments, and this will take all of the initial comments. So I'll say initial comments, right? And I'll provide it to this right over here. And this will not return us a component. It will actually return us things like, function like insert comment, edit comment, delete comment, and actual comments as well. And also, if you don't know much about custom hooks in React, it's basically a function but with all of the powers of a React. And this, trust me, is a very, very important interview question as well. And I've covered a lot of such custom hooks in my front-end interview preparation course. So make sure you click the link in the description down below and check out this course. This is the only thing that you will ever need to prepare for your front-end interviews. And not only this, I've covered every single topic of React.js, like React Router DOM, Redux, all of the hooks, class-based component, function-based component React, even the performance optimization, which is asked from senior developers a lot, tons of machine coding questions as well, and obviously in-depth interview preparation course on JavaScript as well. So all of this you get in one single course. So click the link in the description down below, because right now we're having the biggest sale of the year for a very limited time. So don't forget to check it out. Or you can also scan this QR code on your screen to go directly to the course page. I'll go back to my nested comments component and import this hook right over here, right? Use commentary, and I'll provide it with these comments array that we're getting. So const, and we're gonna be getting this comments as I've already showed you. Let's just rename it to comments data. Okay. Now over here inside the nested comments, I'm gonna have a text area for creating a new comment, right? So I'll say text area. It's going to be a self-closing tag. Let's see. I think I made a mistake over here. Oh, it's comments.json. I've written comment over here. So let's make it comments.json. And now it's fine. Great. This text area is going to have 3 rows, columns 50. Let's add a placeholder of add a new comment. I'm going to create a state over here for this. So use state comment. I'll keep it as an empty string by default, and I'll provide this as a value to this text area. And let's just create a function const handle change for changing this state, which will take an event and will set the comment, right? So let's just say on change equals handle change. Great. And I'll give this some class name as well, like comment text area. And let's wrap this whole thing inside of our div as well. So div, okay, let's wrap this. We're gonna have a button over here as well, right? And let's just give this div a class name of add comment. We're gonna be adding the styles later on. And right below this, I'm gonna have a button which is gonna say add comment. Let's just give this some class name of comment button. And on click, I'm gonna call a function called handle submit, which obviously doesn't exist yet. So let's just create this function const handle submit. And inside this, I'm gonna say if comment has something inside of it, then I'm gonna write the logic over here. So I'll just say logic for now. And after that, I'll say set comment to empty, so that we can, set this text area back to empty. All right, cool. Let's just see. Yeah, this looks good. Let's go on and style this a little bit. So I'll go to styles.css and I'll add these styles. So for add comment, I'm going to set display flex, gap to be 5 pixel and margin to be 5 pixels of 0. So, we have some gap between these, just like that. For comment text area, I'm going to say width 100 and padding of 10 pixels inside of it. For comment button, we're going to have some padding, some font size, some cursor pointer, and some background color of blue. As you can see, the text color will be white. We're going to be giving it some border radius as well, and border will be none. Okay, and we're gonna give it some hover, background color, just some very basic styles over here. Okay, this looks good. Now coming back to our nested comments, right below this, I'm gonna be rendering all of our comments. So I'll take the comments data that I've taken right over here, this comments data from this hook. So also comments data dot map, and this will take a single comment and it will send it to our comment component that we have made. So let's just import this. Let's see. Yeah, this is the comment component that we've made, and we will provide it first of all a key, right? So key equals comment dot id. We're gonna send this whole comment over here, and we will also have one more prop called on submit comment. which will basically submit a reply in any of the nested comment, right? So for that, I'll just create a function for now over here, const handle reply, and I've named this on submit comment. It's because I want it to be, generic, because this is the function that we will be calling again and again using something called as recursion. I'll explain you in just a moment. So let's go inside of this comment component right here, and in the props I'll take both that single comment and on submit comment function. So you have this div over here. Let's just give this a class name of comment, and inside this div let's just create a fragment, and here I'll keep 3 paragraphs. So 3 paragraphs, and each of these will contain one thing. So first one is going to contain the comment dot content. Let's see. Oh, we forgot to return this from over here. So yep, you can see we have all of the content for our comments rendered over here. For the next one, I'm gonna render all of the votes, so comment dot votes. And for the third one, we're gonna be rendering our timestamp. So if I render, something like comment dot timestamp, it's gonna look something like this, which is not readable, right? So let's just format it by using new date, and I'm gonna pass comment.timestamp to it, and I'll say to local string, right? And now you're gonna see now it's in a proper format. Let's give these some class names. So for the first one, I'll say comment dash content. For the second and third one, I'll say comment dash info, because these will be lighter and this will be more bold when we go on and add the styles for this. Now below this, I'm gonna have 3 buttons for our reply, edit and delete. So first of all, I'll have a div with the class name of comment dash actions, and inside this I'm gonna have 3 buttons such as this. First one will be for reply, second for edit, and third for delete. And I've given this class name of comment button just like we have given earlier. Let's just take this comment actions actually, and inside of our styles.css we have this add comment here, right, with gap and everything. I'll just say comma and add the comment actions dot comment actions. Let's see. Yeah, that looks much better. Now whenever we press on this reply, we should expand something below this, right, and show all of the replies for these comments. So let's just create a state for this over here. Use state, and I'll say expand, and this will be false by default. Let's just import use state. I'll say whenever the expand is true, I'll show hide replies, else we will show reply. And let's just add a on click to this. I'll say toggle expand, and obviously this doesn't exist yet, so I'll add a function const toggle expand, just like that, and simply inside of it I'll just revert that state, right? So let's see. Okay, this is working fine. Now below this div I'll have, I'll say expand. If the expand is true, only then show me this thing. I'll have a div with the class name of comment dash replies, and inside this div it's going to be very similar to this nested comments that we've made over here. Let's just I'm just going to copy this up. Let's copy this whole div and I'll place it right here. Similar to previously, we're gonna have a handle change and this comment state. So let's just create this state right over here, and I'll say use state reply content. I'll keep it empty by default, and inside of the handle change I'll say set reply content to e.target.value. Very similar. And for the value I'll say reply content. Instead of handle submit, I'm gonna have handle reply submit. So handle reply submit. Let's create a function for this, const handle reply submit, which will simply see if there's something inside the reply content, then add the logic do set reply content to empty. Okay, let's see if we click on reply. Awesome, we're getting this. But now main thing starts over here. Now we don't know how many times we're gonna be encountering this comment.reply, right? So if we go inside of our data, there's replies over here. There can be replies inside of this array. There can be replies inside of that array, right? There can be so many replies, right? So how will we know when do we need to stop? So this is basically going to be recursive. Like this is going to be recursion over here, right? That we're gonna be keep iterating through these comments. So right here, you can see we have this whole component of comment over here, right? what if I go on and call this whole component again over here? This might be, something new for a lot of you. So we have done recursion in, our data structures question probably in our college or something, right? But we haven't seen something like this, calling a React component recursively. Let's try this out. So comment dot replies dot map. I'm gonna map throughout all of these comment replies, right? Let's just add a question mark over here that only, we're gonna iterate through them if the replies are present. So we don't have to do anything over here. I'll say return and simply call this comment component itself. We're calling the same component inside this component, right? This is what recursion is all about. I'm gonna give the key as reply.id. Let's just take this reply over here. Reply. What else does this take? This takes a comment and on submit comment, right? So comment will be simply this reply, and on submit comment will be this on submit comment function that will be coming from over there. That's it. Let's just add some styles. First of all, let's go on and see. If we click on reply, okay, we can't see anything. We have saved our component. If I click on reply, you can see this is the reply to the first comment. Let me just add some styles over here so that this will be much more visible to you guys. So I'll go inside the styles.css, and first of all, for our comment class, I'll say background color to Alice blue, some padding margin, some border left, and some font family. So this class right over here, I'm gonna give it some border so that we can, differentiate it as a reply. Then for comment content, that is this one and this one, comment info, I'm gonna give this some styles, some margin padding, some font size, and some to this comment info as well. So let's save this and have a look. This looks much better now. If I click on reply, you're gonna see we can see these replies right over here. Amazing. We can click on reply over here, and you can see we have the option to add a reply inside of this as well, right? So let's go on and add that tree traversal algorithm, which we will be using to insert a comment inside of this tree, right? So inside of our custom hook right over here, use comment tree. Below this, I'll create a function over here called insert comment, and this function right here will be responsible for adding a new comment or a new reply, right? So basically, it will take the comment ID inside of which we're supposed to, insert a comment, and the actual content of that comment, right? Now, if we are inserting a reply to the top, to this top list over here, right? Not a reply, a new comment itself. So it won't have a comment ID, right? Because it's not being inserted inside of anything. So I'll just simply check over here. If comment ID is there, only there we're going to be adding a new reply. Else, we're going to be inserting it inside of the list of the original comments, right? So let's write this logic first. So I'll say set comments. We're going to take the previous comments, and I'll say insert a new comment, which I'll create right over here before this. So before checking this, I'm going to be creating a new comment. So it will have an ID. So ID, you can keep use any UUID library or something like that. I'll just keep it simple over here. I'll say date dot now, and it will create sort of a unique ID for us. Below this, I'll have the content. Then I'll have the votes. Votes obviously by default will be 0. I'll have timestamp, the current timestamp, which is new date dot to ISO string, right? And then we're gonna have replies, and by default replies array will be empty as well. Cool. So we're gonna be inserting it right here. So I'm gonna insert a new comment, and then after that we're gonna add all of the previous comments. Great. Now insert the if statement. That is, if we're supposed to add a reply over here, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'll just copy this up and paste it over here. But instead of this, I'll have to write a logic over here, right? So I'll write a function called insert node, and this is the function which will have the depth first search tree traversing algorithm, and it will recursively insert it inside of our tree. So it will take our previous comment or our comments tree, our comment ID, and the new comment. Okay, let's create this function right above this. So const insert node. This insert node will basically have the tree, comment ID, and the content, as I already showed you. Inside of this, I'm going to say return, and I'm going to traverse through this comments tree. So tree.map, I'll take one single comment, and inside this I'll check if. So now we have all of these comments and their replies, right? I'm gonna go inside the depth for each of these. First, I'll encounter this comment. I'll check if the ID of this comment is equal to the ID of comment over here. And if it matches, only then we're gonna be inserting inside of it. If not, I'm gonna go further inside of it. I'm gonna compare through each and every comment. Then I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna compare over here, right? And so on. So we're gonna be comparing for each and every component. And as soon as we find it, then we will insert our reply. And again, over here, there's going to be a lot of replies, right? So I'll show you how we can do that. So how we can, traverse through it. So I'll say if comment.id is equals to comment ID, then what we will do? If this is equal to it, then we will simply say return the current comment, and inside the replies, I'm gonna say comment.replies, and then we will insert that particular comment, right? This new comment that we have created over here. Cool. But what if that's not the case else? First of all, we need to check if there's any replies over here or not. So I'll say if comment.replies or comment.replies.length is more than 0, right? If that is the case, only then we will do something over here. Then we will do this same thing. Let's just copy and paste it. But instead of over here, I'll call this function all over again. So we've been calling this right here, right? So I'll just call this function inside this replies. And now this time I won't supply it with previous comment. I'll say comment.replies. So this particular comment is going to have some replies, right? And now it's going to traverse through that, and new comment will be the same, this content right here, right? So you see, a lot of people tell us that data structures is not used in real life, but now you have the proof to tell them that no, you're wrong. Data structures is used in these ways. Recursion, T-traversing algorithms, all of these are part of our development cycle, and some time or the other you are going to encounter a use case such as this, right? So great. If none of this happens, in the end I'll just say return comment, right? If none of these conditions match. So cool. Let's just take this insert comment and I'll supply it outside of this hook, and inside the nested comments I'll receive this. So insert comment. Now inside this handle reply over here, I'll say insert comment, and I'll provide this comment ID and the content, whatever we're supposed to supply it. So this is going to be coming out from right over here. And you can see inside this comment, we have this on submit comment, right? So this is what we're going to be using right over here. Here, I'll say on submit comment, and we're going to provide the comment ID that we're supposed to reply and the reply content, right? So this is what we're going to be getting right over here. But what if we are supposed to add a new comment and not just a reply, right? Then right here, I'll say handle reply, and I'll keep the comment ID as undefined, and the content will be this comment that we're going to be getting from this text area right over here. And on submit content, I've provided handle change, so it should be handle reply, not handle change. So okay, this looks good. Let's go on and try this out. Let's try to add a new reply. So new reply, let's click on add comment, and amazing, new reply have been added. Let's click on reply, hello, and I'll click on add comment. Great, we have even more nested comments inside of this nested comment. Let's add a global reply. So I'll say global, or let's global comment, and click on add comment. You can see we have added a new comment over here. So you can see how we used data structures and algorithm to create this logic over here of inserting a new comment inside this comment tree using recursion as well, right? And depth first search algorithm. Amazing. So I'm going to be using the same logic, this same algorithm that I've used over here to add the logic for edit and deleting the comment as well. And actually, I will encourage you guys to first go on and try this yourself and then continue with this video. So just simply create, like I've created an insert comment over here, right? Just create an edit comment and delete comment and try to write the logic on your own, and then you can continue with this video. So let's just duplicate this thing, right? This is what we're going to be using. Again, something similar to this, right? So first of all, I'll have the edit node, and where is it? Edit node over here. We're not going to be creating a new comment. So let's just remove this over here. Instead of this insert, I'll say edit comment. Okay, what are the things that we need to change? First of all, in this edit comment function, I'll not check this comment ID and everything. Let's just remove this. I'll simply receive this comment ID which we're supposed to edit, and then the new content inside that comment ID. So I'll say set comments, previous comments, and actually let's just take this one, remove all of this, and inside of this I'll say previous comments, edit node. I'm going to supply previous comment, comment ID, and the content over here instead of the new comment. Okay, and we're going to be supplying this to our user, or to our components. But first we have to make changes to this edit node function, because this is just a copy right now, right? So inside of this we're checking if the comment ID is equals to the current comment ID. Okay, that's fine. Then we're gonna take the comment. Okay, but instead of altering the replies, I'm gonna say content is going to be new content, or this content that we've been providing. So since this is same, I'm just gonna keep it like this. Okay, and since this have been this has been updated, so I'm gonna update the timestamp over here as well. So timestamp will be new date, just like previously, .to ISO string, right? But if this is not the case, we didn't reach over here. Else if comment.replies and comment.replies.length is more than 0, I'm gonna go inside the replies, and instead of insert node, I'll say edit node that we have created right over here. Okay, cool. Let's just go on and use this inside of our component. So I'll take this edit comment, and inside the nested comments over here, I'll receive it, edit comment. And one thing that I forgot to do over here as well is this on submit that's coming from our app.jsx, right? I'm gonna call this over here as well, just in case if after submitting user has to perform some action like showing some pop-up or toast component. So in the on submit, I'm gonna simply send the content. Generally we will show something like new comment added or something like that, right? So this function will be helpful in that case. So in the app.jsx, user will be getting this comment right over here. Cool. So yeah, we're getting this edit comment over here, right? Similar to this handle reply, I'm gonna create a function over here called handle edit, which will be simply taking this content ID and content, calling this edit comment over here, and this on edit, just like on submit, which is going to be coming from user. So on edit inside of our app.jsx, it will also be receiving the content. Okay, and then we're going to be sending to our comment over here this on edit comment. Let's just go inside this comment component, and let me just duplicate this on submit comment, and I'll say on edit comment. Great. Let's add a comma over here as well. Okay, so first of all, whenever we press on this edit, there should be an edit state, right? Which when activated will make this an input box, right? So I'll have a edit state right below this called edit mode, and one of these state is going to be containing that particular edit, right? So comment.content will be the initial state of this, so that this is already pre-filled. So okay, then after that we're gonna be having a function called toggle edit mode. Whenever we press on that edit button, this function will be called, and this will enable the edit mode and set the edited content, this right over here, to comment.content if it's already not added over there. So okay, let's just take this edit mode, and I'll go over here, and actually right over here I'll add a condition. So if the edit mode is not true, then we will display this, but if it is true, colon, I'll show a div right over here. So div, and this div will actually be very similar to this add comment over here. So let me just take this and paste it right over here. Instead, we're gonna have one more button. We're gonna have a edit comment button and cancel edit, or we can actually say save edit and cancel edit. Okay, for value of this, I'll say edit content, since we created this state right over here, right? But we have to set the edited content as well. So inside the handle change, I'll pass this. I'll say if the edit mode is true, then set edited content, then only then it will update this set edited content. Else it will affect this set reply content. Okay, so we don't have to create a separate function over here. Cool. So let's see what else. So for cancelling the edit, I'm gonna simply call this toggle edit mode if it's already enabled, right? And for saving the edit, I'm gonna have a separate function. Let's talk about it in just a minute. Apart from that, we have this edit button over here, right? So I'll say on click, we will have toggle edit mode, right? Let me just remove this for a second and let's see if this is working. If I click on edit, okay, this is working. If we click on cancel, this is working fine. So whenever we have made an edit, inside the save edit, I'm gonna have a on click for handle edit submit. So let's just create this function. I'll create it right here, const handle edit submit, and this will simply call this function over here, on edit comment. So on edit comment, this will take the comment current comment.id and the edited content state. And after this, I'm gonna say set edit mode to false, just like this. Let's try this out again. I'm gonna say edit, and I'll say this is my first comment. Click on save edit, and awesome, our comment has been edited successfully. Amazing. Let's quickly go on inside of our hook and add that delete logic as well. So right below this, I'll just again duplicate this right here, because this is also going to be very similar to this. I'll say delete node. I'll use this delete node right here, and here instead of edit comment, I'll say delete comment. I'll just pass it to our components. Okay, let's see what changes we need to make. First of all, in this delete comment, we will only get the comment ID, right, and no content over here. So let's remove that, and we will provide both of these things to delete node. Okay, let's go inside delete node. We're not going to be needing the content over here, and instead of doing map, we're going to be doing reduce, and we will take the accumulator and the current item, or the let's just say node in this. And it takes a bunch of items and it reduces the value down to one single thing. So first of all, I'll check if the let's just say comment instead of node. So if comment.id is equals to the comment ID that we are providing over here, then we're going to say return the accumulator. That is, we're not going to be adding this current comment inside of it. Else, if comment.replies has something, I'm going to call this delete node and without this content, and the process will continue. So basically this reduce will start with an empty array right over here. Let's just say accumulator comma comment over here. So let me explain it again. First of all, I'll check if the comment.id is equals to comment ID. Notice we have this empty array. We're not going to be adding this inside of that empty array or whatever that's inside of the array, right? If replies has something, it's going to recursively call this function and this process will happen again. But if none of these conditions are met, then we're going to simply add that comment, because that comment is not the one that we're supposed to remove over here, right? We should be spreading the accumulator because that is an array and not the comment. And also one more mistake that we have done over here is let's just remove this everything. Simply I'll say comment dot replies equals to delete node, and we're going to be passing both of these just like this. We have already passed it, and let's receive it over here in the nested comments. So right here I'll say delete comment, just like previously, just like handle edit over here. I'm going to have a handle delete, which is going to call this and this on delete right over here, and I'm going to take this handle delete and I'll pass it to this comment component, right, on delete comment. So over here let's duplicate it and add it over here. And actually I realized that I have not added this on edit or on delete over here. This will be a problematic if we go on and edit the replies. So okay, let's just say on edit comment. For this one I'll say on delete comment. Okay, so we have to pass it again and again, right, for recursion. So okay, we have this on delete comment right here. So where will we be using it? We'll be using it right over here in the delete, right? So I'll say on click and on delete comment, comment.id, and this should work. Let's go on and see. If I click on delete, awesome. If try to delete a nested comment, delete, awesome. This is working fine. Great. So let's go back to our requirements and see what are the features that are remaining. So we have to add the functionality of upvote and downvote, and this is also going to be very similar to this edit and delete that we've implemented. We have to add the functionality of sorting. Okay, we have to improve the performance by using something like virtualization or the scalability, accessibility. We have to add the security feature, and we have to also implement the Typescript inside of our code, right? So all of these things I've discussed in my front-end interview preparation course, so you can continue this lesson in there. This right here, what you've built is also good enough, but for the advanced stuff, you can check out my front-end interview preparation course. Link will be in the description down below. Also, this code and this diagram and everything, all of these HLD, LLD, you can find it in that course as well.